The more information you have, the better the decisions. Data is crucial to do important decisions in Dota games and even before the Dota game in preparation. It's really cool that a big company like SAP is investing into esports, and that I can be a part of it is amazing.
Folks, we couldn't ask for a better matchup to close out the day. This is going to be the 4th series, and it's the 2 most even teams that we've seen. We've got LGD going up against Vici. We started to talk about it a little bit, Nahaz, but we really haven't gone at length what these teams are capable of. We've seen a lot of series today. Why are these 2 of the more dominant teams?
Well, they know each other really well. They're regional rivals. The last 3 events, in fact, where they've played each other, they've split series. So it's as close as it gets. The hero pools are very, very similar. I still look at LGD. I think they have matchup advantages at 4 out of the 5 positions. But
what? LGD or Vici?
LGD.
All right.
I think at 4 out of the 5
like,
positions, I think LGD have matchup advantages. And as good as I think Ame is, I think you look at Paparazzi, I think there is a case to be made. It's not clear, but I think there's still a case to be made that Paparazzi could be the best player in Dota.
How do you feel about that?
Well, I agree with the LGD point. They know each other very well. We saw in yesterday's interview about that they don't have many teams to practice with, so they know each other really well. If you just look at the Chinese tier 1 scene, there's not that many teams, and there's like tier 2 scene, tier 3 scene is in China is really strong, tier 2 as well. But I don't think they don't want to scrim against these teams because, as they said yesterday, they're really not contested in these scrims.
So how do you think that's actually going to affect what we see here when we actually get into the series with 2 teams that know each other so much? How does that actually change the tide of the game?
Well, they might need to pick some heroes that are out of the box.
Yes, exactly.
Something that they practiced, maybe even had prepared for some Western teams as well.
So maybe we look away from the flavors of these teams, maybe we look away from the regional flavor and see something a little bit spicier. Maybe we see them go outside of the box, try to throw a team off that they've scrimmed against so much.
Yeah, and I don't think it's going to be like, I don't think either of these teams is, especially against the other, going to go to like some ridiculous pocket strat, but it can be something small, like one hero that they haven't seen before that can make a big difference in these matchups. I also think I'm going to be looking a lot at Chalice on LGD. Okay. He's a player I thought midway through last season when LGD really started coming on, he was getting a lot of attention. We started talking about him as one of the elite offlaners in the game. He still played well in the later part of the season at TI, but he came down a little bit from the truly rarefied air that we saw in the midseason. Is he going to be able to elevate his game again? That's what I think LGD need to make the finals.
Oh, let me tell you a story about Chalice.
All right.
When he first joined LGD, we were casting Chinese qualifiers, and the first game that I saw of him was him playing Enchantress going 0-11. I was like, what?
Yeah, yeah. And it was a big signing too. I mean, the Chinese teams, the player transactions in China are much closer to like pro sports than in the Western teams. Yeah. I mean, these players sign contracts for big money, and the transactions across teams are big. And so when LGD first brought Chalice in, there were people like, what the?
Yeah, what's happening? But then later, it really made sense. He is really, as you mentioned, the top offlaner. Shall we say, as we called him at the start.
Oh, is that Fragile? It must be Italian.
Okay. Now, the dust is somewhat settled on today, right? This is the last thing that we're going to be looking at. And with that, the upper portion of the bracket has really started to shape up quite decently. And we're starting to talk about how far we think some of these teams are going to go. How impactful do we think this particular matchup is, though, on the entirety of the upper portion of the bracket? LGD and Vici, are these 2 teams that are really going to make waves for the rest of the tournament?
Yeah, I think especially because these 2 teams are so familiar with each other, I think Vici has a better chance than a lot of other teams would of knocking LGD down. And my God, if LGD were to get knocked down to the lower bracket, there would be a lot of teams just going, oh no.
We saw on the screen before the heroes that were picked, and they don't pick the same heroes. That's the thing with these teams, especially LGD. They're so versatile. I think I only saw Earth Spirit being picked
Well,
twice.
it's a little weird, right? There's the small sample size, right? Is
It
part
is,
of the
but
problem.
still, if you play, what, 5 matches and have almost every single time a different hero.
Yeah, sure. And I think when we talked about Chalice from LGD, when we go over to the side of Vici, again, same fiddle as I was playing last night, I'm going to talk about Ori, because Ori was given an OD that I thought had a chance to do something and went a rather unusual drums blink build that I thought, especially when there was another blink dagger on his team in the Tide, really capped what he could do in that game. And then the second game, the hero pick, Puck is one of his signature heroes, but didn't look as impactful in that game.
So what do you think causes something like that?
Again, we talked about this a little in relation to EG. It's really hard to play against these two elite farming players, especially now that the offlaner, the utility items are so valuable in this patch that the offlaner needs a lot of farm too.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely something to be looking at here. We're going to get to see a little bit of insight into Vici, somewhat of a different road here at this point, taking down J-Storm handily. Pango is such an interesting team to me. As we do start to think about the lower portion of the bracket a little bit more, Vici has a very important stake here for the rest of the tournament because they can impact that lower portion of the bracket so much. They're either going to go down there where they have a really good chance, or all of a sudden, like you mentioned, Haas, they send down LGD, who could be an absolute shark and go on a warpath all the way back to those losers final. So Vici, they somewhat have the tournament under their control. Are we seeing the same thing with them, though, with a very wide pool of heroes, Lacoste?
Oh yeah, I mean, there's a Tusk who got repeated a couple of times. Same goes for Tide Hunter. But these heroes are going to get highly contested, and
right.
Kanka as well. I wouldn't be surprised to see a Death Prophet. It's been like the Chinese classic. This is the hero. You just need some big AoE teamfight Roche potential, tower damage, and it fits the profile. Also, I think we're going to see a hero like a Dragon Knight in this series.
Mm-hmm.
I feel the hero has been underpicked because he checks all the boxes: tower damage, good laning stage. He barely loses any of the matchups. Scales well, reliable stun.
I think when you talk about stability in your 1v1 matchups, as one of the big meta focuses, I think, as the tournament goes on, is we're going to talk about the prevalence of these tri-lanes and the shift to the tri-lane meta, because that's just something that's been gone. Dual lanes have been so ubiquitous over the last couple of patches. And as you talk about that shift to tri-lanes and sort of playing the lane-threatening game in the draft, not knowing what your opponent's lanes are going to be, a hero like Dragon Knight that may not necessarily crush a lot of those mid matchups, but he's never going to get that punished, except against a couple of very specific heroes. That gains a lot of value. It's just something that you can pick up with your third pick and know that he's going to be okay mid.
So we're thinking about tri-lanes and how that may actually impact the draft. But once we actually get into the game, I just want to circle back on this idea. You think that the two players really to watch on each side is going to be Chalice and Ori. Those are the two players to watch. Would you agree with that, Lacoste?
I would say Yang as well. Yang has been playing extremely well, even though he has some of the bad games. Kind of reminds me of Old 11. I think I said that yesterday as well.
I don't think he's quite there. I don't think he's quite not that volatile.
It's hard to get to that level, but he had some great performance in this tournament so far, especially on the Tide Hunter. I love him.
I also really like his Centaur. I think he gets those, again, when you talk about his ability to get those two big utility items, either 2 of the 3 Vlad's Pipe Crimson up early 20s or even before, consistently on that hero, regardless of lane matchup, and then he becomes just a presence in the middle of every team fight.
He has a great sense of what's happening in the map. That's why I love having him on a Blink initiating hero, even though Blink is not that popular anymore as a first, not even second item. Depends on the hero and what do you want to do around your item timings, but still.
We're getting very close to the draft here, so I got to put you guys on the spot. Once again, we're going to be making a prediction here before we see the draft for the entirety of the series. LGD versus VG. Obviously, one of the closest matchups of the day. Nahaz, you get the honors of kicking this off with your prediction.
LGD 2-1.
2-1.
Yep.
I'll say 2-0 for LGD. Can you check who was right last time in the previous series?
I think you went 2-0 VP, so I think you were right.
Yeah, Nahaz went 2-1.
All right.
I actually did find it. I'm actually really surprised. So many phone numbers on my notes. 2-1. 2-1. 2-1 from Nahas. So
All right,
I mean, you do know Tinder exists, right? You don't need really.
I'm old school, man.
Okay, all right.
See this mustache? I'm old school.
Let me give you a
like it.
tip. Write this down. Don't buy wards. Wards don't deal damage when you start playing Dota again.
Wards don't.
Deal damage. Yeah.
And just go ahead and write down Meteor Hammer too, because
Oh, that sounds sick. Yeah,
Meteor
that
Hammer
sounds metal
and
as
never
hell.
buy wards.
Meteor Hammer.
I hate
is
you.
Metal. All right, cool. Well, I'm ready. I'm ready to play some games. Let's see if our players are. I know we're getting very close to the draft here. I do want to ask, though, even though we said they may stray away from it just a little bit, what the regional flavor really is from these squads, because we're talking about how that is interesting in this matchup. What is the regional flavor? What do we typically expect from this region, Nahas?
I think that there are a lot of stereotypes around Chinese Dota, and I think most of them are inaccurate. I think that the Chinese teams are known for farming. They're known for slower-paced games, but it was really, if you look at when LGD and Vici had success last season, it was them playing around their multiple BKB timings in the mid-game, starting to force tempo. They actually played a big role in speeding up the meta. So I actually expect these games to be not quite as aggressive as when you're going to see a team like Virtus Pro, but I expect to see the same kind of focus on lanes and mid-game engagements that we saw in the last series.
They were playing fast in the previous season, and we have a fast patch. The games are not that long at the moment, and I feel like there's not that much of a difference in terms of picking the heroes like it was before. Look at this is a bit of difference. Never mind. That's
on the
the wrong stream.
That's on the Chinese stream.
It's okay. It's okay.
So we saw Dragonite, Razor, OD. Razor's been a hero that kind of risen in popularity lately.
Yeah.
You don't like Razor?
I think Razor is just a hero that he has to win his lane or he's just nothing.
Every time I feel like we've seen Razor, you've had a few different critiques actually when this hero gets locked in.
I just think
that's
it's
typical Nahas.
I think it's two things, right? Number one, he's not just a hero that needs to win his lane, he needs to dominate his lane to really have a presence in the game. And second is, I always hate seeing your playmaker on a Razor. Like we had an Armel Razor game. Like you don't want Razor to necessarily be on your best player.
And also sometimes with these item builds too, and this is just from information that I've accumulated over the past few days, I think it is weird that we don't ever see a Meteor Hammer or anything like that on a Razor.
Oh my
And I'll be looking for it, and we're going to be jumping into the draft here shortly.
Thank you, Sensei Lacoste.
All right.
Yeah, very nice.
And we can see the coach here. He needs to sit down, pick the heroes for his team.
Needs to do just that. We can see right now a little bit before you guys can that some of the early bans are in. Now we're going to have that popping up on your stream. Is there anything of note, Nahas, that we want to bring up nice and early here? Any trends that we've been seeing in these bans quite a bit over the course of our major?
Yeah, I mean, it's been pretty consistently what we talked about in the last series, and that's that we've seen the focus of supports and the occasional off-lane ban. The Centaur is not a ban that you'll see against everybody, but that's been such a strong hero for Yang. I like that. The Elder Titan is a hero that's valued by the Chinese teams in the first phase, much more so. I think some of the Western teams I'm hearing are really catching on to that, and that's going to be a hero you're going to see a lot of first phase bans on just because it trades so well in lane. Other than that, now, I mean, supports and the occasional offlaner first phase bans, cores banned in the second phase because of matchups.
Yeah, I was trying to look at some of the heroes that we've seen most frequently from some of these teams, and there were a few that I don't think we've seen, at least on this portion of the stream yet, that I was a little bit curious about. And forgive me if this is because I've been looking at everything in past 3 months of play, but I see Phoenix picked a whole bunch by Vici about 16 times.
Well,
is that a hero to be keeping our eye on?
It's a hero, certainly, that you talk about the FY Phoenix in the grand finals of TI8. It's a hero that both of these teams are going to threaten.
Yeah, some of the heroes that are good against Phoenix has kind of fallen off, and you use some of the heroes that are good with Phoenix as well has also fallen off. So you don't have like these heroes that can protect the egg, which is really important.
Tusk here, I mean, the Tusk is still on the board, and I mean,
it feels like
Fade Tusk.
either Tusk or Earth Spirit, these are the best position for heroes right now.
Running into a little bit of that extra time right now, trying to figure it out.
I think, by the way, I agree with you, but I actually think Elder Titan is right
Oh
up
yeah,
there.
yeah. I mean, from the ones that we see being played, because Elder Titan is mostly banned out.
And that, by the way, there's your Earth Spirit. And Terrorblade is a hero that we were a little remiss not to talk about, because certainly among the Chinese teams and quite possibly across the world, you throw Ramses in there, but Paparazzi and Ame are probably the two top Terrorblades in Pro Dota.
Yeah,
and they have been for quite some time.
Right now on VG, too, over the past 3 months, 15 games played on that Terrorblade, 73% win rate.
Yeah.
So definitely seeing that that's paid dividends for them. But what do we expect from LGD at this point, now that we do see the Tusk being the first pick?
The hero that is sort of not spoken for yet is the Beastmaster, that I know both of these teams like quite a bit.
Lacoste, you think we could see that here?
Oh, definitely. But Beastmaster's, I think, one of the heroes that has the highest win rate in this patch and brings so much to the table. They could also shift to something like a Rubik as well. It's really good against TB.
Okay. So Tide's been, Tide's been taken off in this tournament.
I was about to say a Tide Hunter. I'm just looking at their drafts. It makes a lot of sense. They should get rid of OD, definitely. It's one of the worst matchups for Tide Hunter. Even maybe get rid of the Monkey King.
Why are we seeing Tide so much? You know, Nahaz, you just said that's taken off in the CQ Major. What do you think it is about this hero that's propelled it forward?
I think there are a couple things. It's a hero that, as the focus shifts from always blink first to these utility items. Right. Tide's a hero that can farm up these utility items fairly effectively. Again, the Disruptor ban explicitly there to protect the Tide. And the other thing is, I think these CIS teams that sort of pioneered the Deso builds, the taking advantage of the physical damage from Anchor Smash, just having that remote possibility of a greedy core Tide in your back pocket just gives the hero a little bit of extra added dimension.
Now, are you still looking for an OD ban here right now, Lacoste?
OD TB is kind of greedy, but they can pull it off if you have an Earth Spirit if you pick an offlaner like this. So I expect them to ban it out. Disruptor, a good ban. Not too many heroes can deal with the Tide Hunter because of the Kraken Shell. So Disruptor, Doom, Faceless Void, and Enigma.
Yeah, the OD. The other thing about the OD, okay, the Medusa was taken off the table as well, but that's something to watch as the series goes on, as we get to a second and possibly a third game, is that OD against Medusa matchup too, because both of these teams really do like the Medusa.
All right, well, Medusa taken out of this one. Definitely keep that in your mind, though, as we do move forward. Now, very open on both sides. With LGD, is there anything in particular that you do expect to see, Nahaz, as we get into these future picks?
I mean, you obviously need to start thinking about some magic damage to threaten that Terrorblade now that the OD is off the table. The mid-hero pool is in kind of a weird place right now.
Oh, yeah,
right?
it's not that big. I think Pugna is going to be contested in this game. It could work for both of the teams. From what I see, amazing hero against TB also creates a lot of space. If Vici wants to go for it for a TB, pressures the towers.
I think Vici could go for potentially a Timber as well.
Oh yeah, Timbersaw has been so popular lately, and there's a reason why. Unless you just buy a Bloodstone first item, then it's a completely garbage hero. Don't do that.
Well, yeah, just don't forget, Bloodstone is not the same item, guys.
Are you liking the Timber picks, though, Lacoste? Because we have seen quite a few already in the tournament.
I mean, they could use the advantage of OD being out of the pool, which also counters the Timber, but I'm
going to go back
on
that a little bit.
Right now.
I think Timber plays... I think Tag Team really kills Timber.
Okay.
Like Tag Team makes Tusk's Tag Team makes Timber feel so much less tanky in that early part of the game, where ordinarily the multiple stacks of reactive armor make you feel unkillable. Oh wow! I didn't even. I mean, it's a hero that you just assume is going to be banned, but with the Disruptor ban by LGD, all of a sudden the Ori Kunkka is back in play, and yeah, it's just a staple.
Yeah, Ori, one of the players that you said before we even jumped into the series that you wanted to keep an eye on. Now he's going to have a Kunkka at his disposal. We have to see how LGD is going to respond here.
It's just such a, it is one of his best heroes. It's something he can go a lot of different item builds on it. It's something he's going to have a good lane and he's going to be able to impact the game.
It could be a good Razor game. You need a hero that kind of can survive.
Yeah.
And shuts down the Kunkka as well. So
the other thing you talk about against a Kunkka is you talk about maybe Dazzle's out. Like saves against Kunkka are really good. Oracle I like actually against Kunkka quite a bit too, because it's not just the ulti, but you have the magic immunity.
How do you feel about Oracle?
To disrupt the
Oracle has been amazing overall because of the new mechanic, not new mechanic, the route, how it works. It stops.
Yeah, it
stops
cancels
a
TP. Yeah, that's
so
the
big.
Your Q canceling TP is just so huge for that hero. People don't understand at the lower levels of Dota how significant TP cancels versus not are. Like the fact that when Dazzle's Poison Touch was nerfed and it removed the mini stun and no longer stopped TP, like that hero disappeared. Lion,
not a big fan of Lion.
I don't like as much.
He's really good against the TB, just bursting him, controlling him, getting rid of the illusions with the mana drain and Hex.
Yeah, the other thing is that, I mean, these Chinese teams, you go all the way back to like MMY, and these Chinese teams are so good at giving farm priority to their Lions, getting him that early level 6 and getting him that Blink Dagger. They'll rotate and they'll give the Lion mid. They were one of the first to do that.
Do you know where MMI is? What is he doing?
I have no idea, but he's still one of the best Dota players I've ever seen.
Oh yeah,
like that guy. X. People that are new to the game that have never seen him.
His Storm Spirit, his Lion on mid.
That's the thing. He was a guy that was one of the elite cores, and then he played support for a while, and he was just ridiculous. Yep. It was like you felt like watching that they added extra gold to the game because you would just get these items on supports and go like, what happened?
Darkseer still in the pool, and they already picked Lion, so there's not going to be Oracle if they want to go for it, or just I think it's right idea to pick something that shuts down Tide, something
absolutely
either Enigma, either that Doom that I mentioned could go that way. It's super effective against Tide.
So Doom or Enigma are the two that you're kind of looking for here to shut down Tide, but what else would they bring, Lacoste? Would they bring anything else to the table for Vici?
Oh yeah, a lot of team fight potential, and they have Kunkka already. Let's see what they go for.
Yeah, the Darkseer, that's absolutely.
It's still fine. It gives, I mean, it's Earth Spirit plus the Darkseer, good lane. Also, they have a great potential with the combo with the Kunkka.
Yeah, and that's the thing that we're seeing. I feel like the theme of this draft so far is just overwhelming team fight potential from both sides.
Okay. And seeing so much. Okay, there's the Jug.
With PA gone, that's the natural sort of robust agi carry. It's not Jug into TB is a little bit scary. If I were pointing to something on the side of LGD, it's still that. You know, you don't necessarily have that core that deals with the TV.
We saw yesterday the game ending anticlimactically, where TV just uses reflection, kills the overfarmed Jug. He has no buyback, game ends. But the Juggernaut, a good pickup. If you don't know what to pick, you have a lot of stuns disabled. Juggernaut is always a good choice, especially against the lane like Earth Spirit and the Darkseer, which deals a lot of magical damage, can deal with the Ion Shell.
Yeah, pardon me. We talked about in the last series, Juggernaut. It's not the BKB, it's the spin. One of the weaknesses of the Vici gaming lineup so far is, remember, Sunder doesn't go through magic immunity anymore, so they really have nothing that deals well with BKB or magic immunity in general.
And he builds into Diffusal Blade. I've seen Juggernauts going for Battle Fury, S and Y into Diffusal, or just straight into Diff.
No, I've actually.
I like it really against the TB, and it gives you so much kill potential. It doesn't purge anymore, so you can't get rid of the surge.
It was a high level pub game, but I've actually seen in a couple of high level pub games. I've seen TBs. I've seen Jug go attack speed and early Diffusal, and I've seen TBs have to pop BKB to have mana left for Sunder.
Yes, this is an interesting ban. I didn't think we're gonna see this hero because it's like one of the worst heroes in the game right now.
What?
Silencer?
Silencer?
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, by the way, you said Pangolier is completely unplayable in a 1 today.
Oh,
I
yeah,
just didn't want to
this-
bring that up, Lucas.
Yeah. I mean, if it's not Ice, who's playing it? Like he's the master of the hero. He's probably the best Bango player
yeah,
in the world.
he really is.
Yeah,
he really
yeah.
is.
So they need
Zai's not bad either.
They need a
by the
mid
way.
matchup. They could go for a Monkey or that Razor that I mentioned. They basically have 1, 2, 3 melee heroes inside of Vici Gaming. Monkey
They need
Gaming also
something-
seems good.
Okay, there is the Timber Saw going. So I thought we were past the point where we were talking about that, but it is a counter to the Terrorblade, and that's the main thing that you needed in that last pick was some core. I don't think the Lion by itself is enough. You needed some core that's going to threaten the Terrorblade.
Timbersaw is a good pickup. He naturally builds into Lotus Orb, hopefully, instead of a Bloodstone.
Right.
And this item just completely ruins TB. And the amount of the damage coming out from Vici Gaming, it's pretty static until TB gets super big. They have a lot of magical damage as well, so I expect Timbersaw to get like Hood, Yule Scepter into Lotus Orb,
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
he's gonna be fine.
And there's the
Oracle.
turning around. I like it.
Yeah, folks, you can't
I
see
like
on
it.
your screen right now, but Vici's
Oracle.
last pick was Oracle. And ultimately here we can start to talk about the entirety of the draft and what we see. I want to start with the Timber, and then we'll talk about the Oracle. Does the Timber offer enough in your mind? It's that core that you were looking for to a certain degree, but is this enough for LGD? Do you like their lineup?
I think LGD is the better team, and I would probably pick them here based upon that. But I actually like this Vici draft a lot. I think that I think the team fight coming out of Vici is just scary as hell, and it's not the easiest necessarily lineup to execute. But I think Vici. Why not? I'm going to pick him.
Okay, you're going to pick Vici now. And
Sure.
one of the other things that was said, though, is both of these lineups are built for those team fights. So we think that there is one team fight that is superior between these two drafts.
Oh yeah, I'll take one with the Tide Hunter, and they have easy way to cut into backlines. Find the Oracle. Oracle mostly wants to focus on saving the TB because it's going to be a hard TB game, a lot of burst. I'm going to go with LGD this time.
Okay, LGD and Vici. We knew that this was going to be a close one. Our analysts are echoing that on the desk right now, but we're ready to jump into the action. We're going to kick it down to the casters and get the last series of the day underway.
I remember wise words. Don't go against Chongqing. Come, where
That's
is like?
That's what I was gonna say.
This is really?
Yeah.
Ah.
I mean,
okay,
he's the
moving on.
prince of Chinese Dota, man. Like this guy, FY Tusk is probably my favorite 4-position hero support combination to watch at the moment, just because Shaker's falling out of the meta a bit. I love Timber against Kunkka and TB. This is one of those games where I feel like both teams have win conditions and drafts that they're comfortable with, and it's going to come down to play and these early rotations in the mid game. Like we just saw what a Terrorblade can do, so betting against it is never something guaranteed.
Yeah, but they got a lot of answers to it. Like even Lion, like with that burst damage, he's got multiple controls, multiple ways to actually get rid of the illusions if they try and start pushing. That was one thing we didn't have in the last series. Like VP would just send the TB illusion up the hill, and there's no cheap ability like Mana Drain to get rid of it. And yeah. Now we also have the Juggernaut, though, so I kind of want to beg a question, because we have been kind of crapping on this hero quite hard.
Yeah.
Do you think he actually works better in this draft for LGD than we've seen him earlier today?
So my checklist internally for Darkseer, when I'm thinking about what makes it a good game, obviously you'd love to have an effective laning phase, but you want to have a core and a support that you can Ion Shell, and just boost their effectiveness, obviously. And what's really important that we have here for Vici, if they have the synergy with the Kunkka and the Earth Spirit, but it doesn't seem like people prioritize, is a Vac stun. Like, it's so good. You hit a big Vac into a 3-4-man stun, you're going to win a team fight.
Yep.
Like, we've seen a lot of Darkseer. Have we seen a single big combination?
No, but then again, EG didn't draft it.
True, but
they drafted ES with their Darkseer.
well, it used to work because the stone would stun, but,
yeah, but it doesn't
not the
work
case
with,
anymore.
Yeah, now it's Rolling Boulder as the stun.
It's a curious game from Vici. I think they're going to have major Timbersaw issues, and how they look to address that is really interesting to me, because traditionally you could ignore him, or perhaps you look to rotate early. You have a ton of magic damage on your supports, Earth, Spirit, and Oracle, so you certainly can kill him. But in the event, maybe is able to get out to a good start, and he picks up, say, a Hood by 10 minutes, I don't know if that's possible anymore.
Yeah. So then you look to something else, right? Like, is it your Kunkka quick damage before reactive armor charges kick up? Man, I can't believe, hey, we're looking at this again. Iron Shell burning off the creep wave before it can arrive at the tower because it doesn't attack back. These heroes are full life looking to dive it while up on top lane. FY, we told you. We told you. True Side told you. Do not doubt the Tusk God, the Tusk King.
He didn't even use spin. And this is the one downside of this Earth Spirit starting bottom, as we've seen a couple times in the past. It's a tri-lane top. Yep. He's not there, you're going to lose this lane. And this is an excellent decision from LGD to go aggro into the Terrorblade. We've already seen how strong Jug is in offensive tri-lanes. But not just that, Oracle Earth Spirit are not heroes that like tri-laning at all. Earth Spirit wants to be active on the map, rotating around. That's what he's going to look to do. But you're going to be punished up top for this movement.
He's actually doing a really slow walk into the mid lane. Now, Observer Ward is on him, so this could just be for a bit of a vision game, maybe hoping to actually find the Courier, but the Courier's taking some time to get out. It's not because Timbersault's not finding CS, it's kind of already done its trip, so ES is too late for that. Now he'll TP top, starts his rolling boulder forward, going in after FY. No snowball to actually save him, and, well, with the stuns from X-Nova, space created, FY is able just to walk it off.
And I really like what LGD did here with that last pick Timbersaw as well. What do we want an Earth Spirit to do is rotate. And this is something teams would do to us because, you know, Z-Freak loves roaming, right? And for a while, that's all we gave him.
Yep.
When you put a mid hero that's ungankable, it limits what this player is now able to do, and you neuter the enemy 4 position with no real cost to you, right? And now you're in a position where you're just in a try-on-try, and you've got a massive advantage no matter what. Whereas down bottom, yeah, sure, Darkseer's going to get a little more out of this lane, but Chalice is totally fine free farming under tower.
It also seems too like the power of Vici Gaming and their tri lane is very heavily based around Metamorphosis. And getting this back up, because now Metamorphosis is down. Fade comes down a little bit too far. They try and save it, but that's when you just see him go into the spin. Rolling boulder, snowball forward. Rolling boulder cannot get off. And that's now 2 kills for LGD. Now their upside is once again just going to be this Darkseer. 26 CS already. That if he can't help out in this top lane, like FY continues the run. He's already got level 2, so there's the escape mechanism in the snowball. But he'll be fine. But yeah, Darkseer's going to get a lot of farm. So how does he now itemize? We saw S4 earlier before. How do you itemize the Darkseer to get involved in this, to hit the timing for Vici's team fight?
This is an interesting one. He's probably the Vlad's buyer, but he's also the Greaves buyer. I don't think you want a Crimson in this game. It's kind of up to him. I would say you just go mass auras. I think that he's also the guy that would buy the Medallion Solar Crest too. So I would just like to see him get items that enable Vici to do Roche effectively. Because if he doesn't provide the minus armor plus damage, they're really not able to do Roche until TB has 2 or 3 items.
And they're not going to get it from TB. Like, TB has just reached a point where he's gone into his own jungle to farm up. And FY and X-Nova, they're coming over to try and contest it. So Paparazzi has been babysat by Fade, while Juggernaut's free farming up on the top lane. You got Tidehunter doing his own pull. Darkseer's doing the same. So this is a pretty much a scrub lane on the bottom. And then mid lane is Timbersaw gaining levels against the Kunkka. So it's almost like everyone's happy to accept what's happening because LGD are winning 2.5 lanes at the moment.
Yeah, this certainly favors LGD. You're in a position where your carry can free farm with no real expenditure in the sense that it doesn't require 3 heroes to stay top. FY is free to just follow Terrorblade around. He actually kicks him out of one jungle, sends him to the other, and now look.
Ari, Timber Chain's on the way through, but they snowball, hold them together, and even with the Earth Spirit, he tries to rolling boulder through. But Kunkka is already dead. 3 kills for LGD. Snowball, fantastic counter to that X marks the spot.
Indeed, and I love the play from FY. He knows what he's doing. He's going to go right for these runes, look to control both bounties, and then I imagine he just runs straight for the Terrorblade. Oh, ole!
Oh, I love it, FY. I absolutely adore it. All he had to do was do the 1-2 do-si-do. And that rune is gone. X-Nova will grab the top. And how many did they actually get out of that? So they actually claimed all 4 bounty runes for LGD.
Bear in mind, the LGD draft is the one that could just snowball out of control. Yeah, Terrorblade can do a ton of damage, but there's a 3K advantage in the favor of PSG.LGD already. And bear in mind, they have the Timber and the Tide. These heroes are going to get to a point. How are they going to die? Where is the actual sustained damage from Vici Gaming? You've got a ton of spell combinations, but you actually have no method of sustaining DPS throughout a long, drawn-out engagement.
TP support's coming over. FY may have to hide inside the Snowball, doesn't want to do it. Now back up and try and X-Nova and FY. This support combination always sticking together. And the cores just sit in the lanes. They never go anywhere else. Like, this is almost, I don't want to say it's LGD International kind of style, but it's always what I think of when I think of this. Yeah,
None of our viewers know what that even is. Were they even born when LGD Int was a thing?
Stop making me feel
Misery
old,
had
Kyle.
hair when he played for that
Stop
team.
making
It's been
me
years.
feel old. I'm not Naha's level yet. I'm not the Silver Fox. Actually, we're actually quite a close age. He just looks older. We love you, Nahas.
Actually, I think you're closer to him than me. Just saying.
I am closer to Nahas than you.
Yeah, luckily, my youthful exuberance is infectious.
Yep.
Yeah, 3 cores from LGD, all top net worths at the moment. Paparazzi.
They're smoke ganking too. They want to keep the momentum going.
Yeah, this is the right move. Let's keep applying the pressure. You've had an Oracle sitting at this top tower, but he's very easily diveable, and you still have that catapult.
Yep, here's your snowball forward. Lion actually didn't come with him, however, but it won't matter. When you shard block in the Oracle, all the damage in the world. There's no need to have magical or like one or the other. They just have both. Conquer creates more space, but I've seen so many times Ori burning abilities against this Timbersaw and having zero effect.
I've had a lot of conversations back at the hotel with players about the optimal Timber build. I think this is it. Double Bracer, Soul Ring, not into Hood, but Holy Locket. It gives you nearly the same amount of magic resist. You don't get the spell shield, but you get bonus health regen as a Timbersaw, percent-based health regen at that. It is one of the new items that we really just never see on anybody, but it's perfect for Timber. Because it also helps you accelerate a little bit too. You get that just a touch of magic regeneration, and that's just, it's like a mini Bloodstone almost. Not, well, that, yeah, bad analogy, but you get it.
It's useful. Let's just say that. Confidence from the Darkseer. He does it the Vanguard, but underneath a fresh, ready to Omni / Juggernaut, he only needs a little bit of help. And the Lion is going to offer that. Yang goes into it. There's your Omni / FY's got the control with the quick snowball and Shards block into spin. Yang is brought down as the biggest net worth hero on VG by a long way. 1,000 net worth difference between the Darkseer and the Terrorblade.
My God.
But he's still 1,000 behind that the Juggernaut.
Dude, they're 5K ahead.
Yeah, they are.
I'll be honest, I don't want to say this game's over, but if you're Vici Gaming, you need some miracles, and you need LGD to make mistakes. Bottom lane, Tidehunter, 8 minutes in, 1,600 HP and a Vlad's. Mid lane, Timbersaw, nearly 1,500 HP.
Hey, this is the lineup that's stuck together after the TI Grand Finals. They are still a TI Grand Final full team.
Dude, you went Vanguard on Yang. I don't think going defensive items is the play here on the side of Vici because you have major damage issues.
Maybe just want to complete the full Crimson Guard. Try and negate some of the damage.
Negate what? What damage?
I don't know. The Juggernaut physical attack, that's all.
You got Timbersaw problems, you got Tide problems, and you got the Prince of Darkness himself on this Tusk, who so far has been a part of every single kill and just is really dominating the map.
Well, he's just gone from being king to being the evil king, like what are we, warlord kind of style.
Just because
the Prince of Darkness.
Yeah,
that sounds very evil.
I don't think so.
When have you ever said, "Hey, you know what? Darkness, that's the good side"?
I mean, the Empire did nothing wrong, but that's a discussion for another time.
What are you, Barney Stinson? Next thing you tell me in the Karate Kid, you didn't know who the bad guy was.
There's certain villains that are definitely misunderstood, but again, not the right time for this discussion, Toby.
Yeah,
we have a very close, action-packed game on our hands.
Yeah. There's only dark matter separating these two teams. Into the mid, they're going once again over to the Terrorblade. They're waiting for it. Here goes your combination, but it's all gonna miss. The snowball save is too easy. They just come back out of it, but that's why Terrorblade has Thunder, swaps the life with FY. And they're keeping the Timbersaw away, but while this is happening, you've still got Chalice on bottom lane. You've still got the Juggernaut up on top. They're having free times, taking towers, farming lanes, having no issues, while the Timbersaw chases down Paparazzi and Oracle.
LG is playing a flawless game, and Vici looks lost, and I don't blame them because, truthfully, I don't know what you do to get back into this game. Top lane, you can't kill Juggernaut. You have no method of canceling spin TP, so Ame can just plant himself in the enemy jungle. Look at the wards he has.
Yep.
Remember when they killed Darkseer? They also gave him these incredible wards that give him total vision, and he recognizes, look, I have no fear. Timbersaw's just planted himself mid. Tidehunter was bottom. None of these heroes will die. Vici, what do you do? One
observer ward in both sides of the camp. Like, yeah, we've seen teams already today, like they commit like 2 wards into just one jungle. It's like, we will have vision superiority. LGD, all they need to know is someone's there, and then they'll go for it, because that's what you're seeing right now. Timbersaw chase down Paparazzi. He won't go into the base, but that's not required. Kill the creep waves. Keep the push coming, and Vici Gaming, they know they have to do something about it. A 4-man smoke up, but they're going to fight without the Terrorblade. Radiant already scanning, feeling something is coming, and they're going to walk into it as well. LGD, you said flawless. They know what Vici's going to do before Vici does it.
Is this the target you want?
It really isn't. It's the Timbersaw. You keep the silence on him. The boat will fly over the top. But now with the spin, the damage, you can turn on the Magnetize. FY's copped a lot of damage. Maybe with the heal, they back him back in again. So it will be the Tusker to finally fall. Timbersaw, he's trying to live through this. Doesn't have enough reactive armor charges to live. But now the Omni Slash. It's the cleanup time. It's a 2-for-2 trade-off.
Well, bottom lane, Tidehunter's level 12. Paparazzi, you're in trouble, my friend. He's got a...
What the hell? The level disparity.
That was great for Vici, but if you check out that fight recap, yeah, it's a victory, but they got 600 gold, LGD got 400, and Ame, I mean, I love the build. This is exactly what I was bringing up in the previous series. Ame goes for the Yasha first. Rushing Battle Fury is cool, but it doesn't really, you don't feel the impact of an overfarmed Jug. When you just get this casual Yasha, you feel a lot more confident in taking engagements in the course of flash farming, and then you go back for the Battle Fury. But it's a way to accelerate a lot more linearly.
Ori's going to get out in the top, but it will not be the same for Paparazzi. The shard block from FY was absolutely perfect. Even with a defensive Dire Observer Ward, in fact, 2 of them, they did not see the movement up from LGD. Paparazzi has nowhere safe to farm, and they just keep going.
Look at the Tidehunter is 2100 health. He's level 12. I don't know, man. I don't know what the play is, and I love it. Look, Ame's not going to leave top. He's just chilling. He's farming, and at some point, yeah, they'll chase him away. You'll have 3 heroes show up, but he can always just spin TP and rejoin his team, who are, by the way, clearing a tier 2 uncontested.
Sure.
10K gold lead once this tower drops. My God, 13 minutes, 52 seconds in. They are putting on a clinic right now how to utterly dominate your opponents.
Man, if this is just like a complete 2-0 wipe, the only upside will be the fact that Virtus Pro is playing fantastic Dota, and that's the opponent, the winner of this series. LGD will put on a show tomorrow when these teams play. But they still have to get there. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. It is a 14-minute Battle Fury after the Yasha on the Juggernaut. Yes, Tidehunter is rather explosive. And they're going to work with the Timbersaw. Chain down, but they've got no easy control on Yang, so we can just search away. And Dire's already scanning, looking towards Roshan.
eHome beat Fnatic in that earlier series, right?
That is correct. They beat him 2-1.
Want to know a crazy stat? If LGD wins this, that means all 4 of the teams in the upper bracket remaining will have been from just 2 groups. Secret and LGD were in the same group. VP eHome were in the same group. A real shame to those other teams that, unfortunately, were matched up against 2 top 6 teams.
You're looking towards Pango. We're looking towards EY being in trouble.
Man, the
You
whole
can say
team's in
goodbye to your
trouble.
Oracle. It was all the battle for those 15-minute bounty runes. LGD's picking up what they can, but everyone's getting space. Even X-Nova is now given space to try and catch up on his levels and his items on bottom lane. That's where VG Gaming start moving a couple of players down, but because the Observer wards are there from the Radiant side, Paparazzi feels like he may have a fight, but Paparazzi, I hate to tell you, you're probably dead. Snowball forward, it's a double stun from the Earth Spike, the follow-up into the Omni Slash. Paparazzi cops all the initial hits. Yang will live a little bit longer, but then a kick from Fate. There's a buy space, not with the Ravage. Oh, okay, just false promise up. At least Oracle has his level 6, but there's no other save available. They all get magnetized, but Timbersaw, he's on the chase, looking for the kill over on the Darkseer. It's only 1 point up in Whirling Death, so his burst damage isn't that impressive. But VG Gaming just have no answer to this. 11-2 on the board. They have more net worth K advantage. 13K versus the 11 kills of LGD. They're beating themselves right now.
I've seen a few games where the net worth disparity is a bit larger number than the game time, but I've never seen one this close this early. This is crazy. Like, the 3 cores are farmed like it's 25 minutes in.
TP's coming into the front lines. Kunker's got his armlet. He wants some level of engagement. They're looking towards the Timbersaw. The boat will connect, but all this damage, it seems to count for naught. The Darkseer will finally be fingered down. We're going to have Lion having more damage than the core just because of the +50/+50. Paparazzi burns Metamorphosis as well to try and get involved in this fight, and it won't happen. This is a free ticket to go Roshan. No Metamorphosis for the fight. Kunker is in no condition to engage. His ship's down for 30 seconds.
Can we check out the win probability? I'm curious.
I'm saying 98.
Oh my goodness.
Yep, it's 98. It's 98%.
Yeah, I'd love to theory craft a way for Vici to get back into this, but I mean,
what is that
at this
2%?
Point, if I'm ROTK right now, I'm just happy my team's on the board because this could have very easily been.
He just walks up to Earth Spirit. Once again, the Oracle will sacrifice. Well, they'll sacrifice each other. FaZe just standing there. He's not even moving. He understands death is nigh. And they're coming up. LGD don't need Roshan. They don't even need Ravage. They're taking this without Ravage. They're going to Blink Dagger over on the Tidehunter. He's ready to jump in at a moment's notice. Lion will... Actually, he's looking to force the top lane. But they'll just take mid-racks. 18 minutes in. Darkseer will get the back wall off, but do I dare say this is just going to be some clearance that LGD has no issue doing.
The only thing I can do in this game is break down all the things PSG.LGD is doing right, and there's a lot. I mean, look at the vision they have around the base. Look at the way they're splitting.
They are kind of standing together for Torrents, so it looks like the care factor of LGD is starting to drop. The Ravage is already back off cooldown. They have a level 2 Omni Slash, smoke up from FY and Arme, X-Nova as well. It's like they're waiting for someone to TP out, and Paparazzi isn't coming back. He's fighting and pushing the bottom lane to the tier 2 tower, while the fact, Chalice, he is kind of a little bit stranded. He needs some space to be created. Timbersaw is here, and Chalice still holding the Ravage, does not want to burn it. And probably the wise decision. They already took mid-racks. They just have to sacrifice the Tidehunter for it.
Yeah, I like the play. Much better to just ditch your Tide there. You know this game is effectively in the bag. You have a Rax. Your next move is respawn. Like if he burns Ravage there, they know it's going to take a couple extra minutes to close this game out. Now, respawn, walk to Roshan. Vici will probably look to fight them because otherwise you're effectively just conceding, and they'll lose that fight, and that'll probably be it. Look how farmed this Jug is.
He just picked up the he's going to have his butterfly by 22 minutes this rate.
And it's crazy how much better a hero Jug looks when you get involved in the action.
And you're going to have you'll have triple Blink Daggers on LGD, both the supports and Tidehunter.
Man.
Sure. And a Heaven's Halberd.
I feel like I'm being dishonest by being excited.
Tide's in trouble. Support's coming over from the Timbersaw. Tidehunter, there goes your Ravage. He'll catch out in 5. That's just straight through him with maybe They've already got the kill on the Oracle. FY in the back lines as well as looking at killing off the Oracle, taking away his save. The Magnetize is at least doing something good for the Earth Spirit. He'll probably have more damage this entire team combined. Another Finger of Death kill, combining with the Omni Slash. GG is called, and rightly so. This game is so over.
They did everything right. You know, it starts with the nullification of the Earth Spirit. So you force an aggro tri-lane into a Terrorblade, knowing you have a massive advantage just because of the way the Jug versus TB relationship functions. You know now that the Earth Spirit can't roam middle because you planted a Terrorblade, or sorry, a Timbersaw there, and bottom lane is a Tidehunter. What is Fade supposed to do? The guy's got a great Earth Spirit, but
yeah. Hilariously enough, he actually didn't have the highest damage on his team like I thought he might. The Conqueror actually took it at 9.4k hero damage, but that was flawless. No deaths. Like, the deaths were one apiece between Chalice, FY, as well as, like, maybe. That's it.
And all the deaths, I don't want to say they're, like, good deaths, but, you know, they weren't meaningful.
Yep.
It wasn't like it was giving Vici an opportunity to push for a team fight, find more, get an
if the
objective.
Tide blew the Ravage when he was trying to retreat out of mid, like that would have been the option to go in for Roshan. There would have been that comeback mechanic. But and when you look at LGD play a game like that, and you've seen some of the other teams who have played here, there always seems to be an opening. There seems to be a mistake. Someone will pick something wrong. Someone will itemize something wrong. But there was nothing wrong there from PSG.LGD.
No, not really. And I would argue, I mean, Vici didn't have much time to get much of anything.
Yeah.
But I question, Yang's the only one with items, and he has a Crimson Guard, and I'm watching him Crimson, like, that's a Timbersaw, though.
Yep.
And by the time Jug shows up, it's already faded. And, I mean, if you're Vici, relax. Forget this ever happened, all right? I've been in this situation before. You got to have a short memory.
This didn't exist. You're just looking for the reset. That's all you need. Maybe game 2.